Welcome to AI TV. We're broadcasting here live from AI Expo Africa 2019, Africa's largest AI trade show. And it's a great honor to welcome John Kamara, who's the director of the Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa, and he's also a director at Cortex Africa as well. So a not-for-profit company and a solutions company working across Africa. So welcome, John. What's it like to be at AI Expo?
Thank you very much, Nick.
Good to see you again. Yeah.
No, it's really great to be here. I mean, I think there's a lot of build-up to the AI Expo across the continent. I just came from Nairobi this morning to be here specifically, and there's a lot of positive news about the Expo, so it's good to be here and see in real time, you know, the amount of people who are here. I listened to the opening keynote speaker in the morning, and I was blown away.
Yeah, Simon C.
You know, Simon C. I was literally blown away by how far back we are.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting. I mean, that's why we invited Simon here. We wanted to get a perspective from the East, Eastern Asia, so Singapore, South Korea, Japan, China. You know, what are they doing there? How far ahead are they? And it struck me that, yeah, they're a long way. So they've got tech centers where they're playing with technology, they're linking that into universities, the government has a policy, they're investing heavily. And I guess, yeah, we know we're kind of behind here in Africa, John, but, you know, where do you see the positives in what we're doing across the continent at the moment?
I think the positive is in the fact that a lot of young people are embracing AI, and, you know, mainly young people, smaller organizations. You know, the big companies are still slowly coming around to it. The governments still don't really understand, you know, the value of AI and the role it's going to play in shaping the landscape of a lot of their countries. But the important thing that I wanted to kind of touch on after listening to Simon C. was education.
Yeah.
And that was the light bulb moment for me, that, you know, we can have what you call sporadic AI companies set up, sporadic, you know, startups do AI, but if there is not a clear understanding of how we go about educating this continent and producing, you know, competitive AI experts, we're still going to struggle.
Yeah, and I think if we do that, then the next challenge is to keep them here. Because, I mean, you think about the salaries now that data scientists can command in Europe or the US, or in places like Australia or North America, then, yeah, I mean, if you hope that the money we spend in educating those people will mean that they'll stay here. Because I'm also seeing people from the diaspora wanting to give back. So Stephen Adabo from Nigeria lives in the US. He's actually coming back and he's trying to stimulate the Nigerian AI community. So it's...
No, I mean, I agree with you, but I also disagree, no, because I think if you educate, there's enough opportunities here in Africa. I mean, we just heard the Japan-Africa Summit, where Japan has promised, you know, all these trillions of dollars to help develop, you know, a lot of infrastructure, technology projects in the continent, because they see Africa as an emerging economy for growth. So that is happening anyway. Yep. And, you know, in terms of monetary value, the monetary value will become commensurate to the value of the individual eventually. You know, this continent is growing at a very fast pace. So I don't necessarily see that as a problem. I think the lack of knowledge and the lack of understanding the opportunity that even exists within your own ecosystem, that is the first problem. Once you can train someone and then show them the opportunity, it's the same people who will set up the companies that will also hire and absorb the people that we're training.
Yeah.
Yes, there might be an initial little bit of brain drain, but I think, you know, there's a lot of opportunities for us to even solve Afrocentric problems from Africans. So without that education as the core base, you know, when you talk about the universities in China and Singapore linking together, that means, you know, from a very young age, you know, these kids are being trained that this is how you should look at life. You know, they're being trained to code, they're being trained to develop artificial intelligence solutions, they're being trained on deep learning. And then by the time they go on to university, they go on to work. So the moral fiber, first of all, has been changed from when at a very young age. So that is kind of where I'm coming from in terms of education. I think that we're not matching education with the opportunity and the amount of innovation that we are trying to prove in this continent.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing that from Simon's talk was that there's a culture of seeing AI as a force for good, and I think maybe in Africa in the West we see it as a negative force, like it's going to destroy jobs, killer bots, Terminator scenario. So I think that also helps. You know, they don't see it as a threat necessarily, but they realise that data and privacy and ethics are absolutely really, really important. So John, just before we wrap up, just tell us a little bit about some of the projects you're working on in Africa, because I mean you're playing in the agri space.
Yeah, so with Cortex Africa, one of the things we're doing is trying to create exponential driven companies in the AI space. So we're in agriculture, which is a huge important part of where you can use AI to help the agriculture and the farming landscape and to redevelop this economy, which 60% of people in this continent are farmers. Yep. We're also playing in the health space as well too, where we're looking at health as an infrastructure and how health can become part of the daily lives of people and wellness and well-being. Then we're also very much in the fintech space as well too. So those are the spaces where if you look at the average African, those three things touch their life at every point. So, and as a company and as a group, we're very focused on trying to see how we can use our knowledge, our experience to be able to drive growth in some of this company, but also in the education space as well, through some of the partnerships that we're forming with a number of organizations across the continent as well.
And in terms of the Expo, I mean, a couple of points just to wrap up. Are you excited to be here? I mean, what are you looking forward to? I mean, we've got a bigger turnout this year, more vendors, more speakers, more panels. I mean...
No, I'm just waiting for my award as the best dressed person at the Expo.
You're certainly going to win the prize for the best dressed person.
That's the only thing that's missing for me.
Well, we'll dig out an award for you. We'll make you one.
Yeah, please, Nick. Okay, thank you very much.
It's really good to see you again.
And I accept the award.
Yeah, thank you. Well, look, it's great to have people like John giving us fresh perspectives on AI in Africa and what I would call the real Africa. And John, it's always a pleasure, and thanks for swinging by, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.